Okay, everyone, welcome to the show. I'm joined tonight by a very special guest, a man that knows all about accountability, Steve Birkinshaw. Steve, how are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Good, thanks. It's great to be here.
Oh no, it's great to have you on. Let's just go straight into the meat and the bones. 214 Wainwrights, still the record holder. How tough? And would you ever think about doing something like that again?
Tough, yeah, it was tough. Definitely the toughest thing I've ever done by a long way. So I've done long adventure races, 3 or 4 days continuous. I've done the Dragon's Back race, which is 5 long days.
Yeah,
This was like a stage more, a lot more, 50 miles a day, 5,000 meters of climb. So that's like 4 times up and down Ben Nevis every day, plus 2 marathons.
wow.
And yeah, it was tough. It was some hard times, definitely. It took me a lot to get through that.
Is this something that you always wanted to do, or was it something that you sort of did a fell at a time and thought, oh, could I combine it? And then you obviously, Josh Naylor's record, did you always know you were going to go for this, or has it just has it just grown and grown and grown in time?
As you say, it grew and grew in time. So I started off doing sort of orienteering when I was younger, and then I started doing fell races, and then longer fell races. And the longer it was, the better I was getting.
Yeah.
And then I did longer and longer stuff. I did the thing like they call the Bob Graham Round,
yeah,
which is 60 odd miles.
Yeah.
And then I tried to break the record for the most number of Lake District peaks in 24 hours. Didn't quite manage that. But then I thought this was the next stage up, doing, all the Wainwrights in under a week. So I just thought, yeah, I'll give it a go, see how I get on. But it was sort of a plan for 2 years. I sort of thought that I'll go and do it. And then I sort of spent 2 years sort of,
wow,
I guess, getting everything sorted.
So the planning process was 2 years long. And did that involve, what did that involve? Obviously, you're quite an accomplished map reader and orienteer. So the navigation side of it, I take it, was that maybe one of the easiest parts, or was it quite hard in picking where you were going to go on your route to get the Wainwrights in the most effective time?
Exactly. It was looking at a map, working out what I thought were the best route, and then going out and trying some of the fells I'd never been up before, trying ways off them, finding the best lines. And then the last 6 months, it was organising a huge support team to come and help me, because I needed like 50 people on the hill, fells with me, another 20 sort of road support.
Wow.
And organising those.
That is unbelievable. So at any one time during your epic adventure, because that's what it is, you had that many people sort of supporting you. Wow, that's...
They weren't all there at one time, so they had about 3 or 4 on every section, so there's 24 sections.
Right.
But so someone came in for a section or a couple of sections and then went away again, and then they might come back a couple of days later and help me again. But in total, there were 50 different people.
Oh, of course, there was 50 during the whole thing. But wow, did you ever have anyone to sort of did you have people come and run with you to sort of break up the monotony, or was it just a solo attempt, as in you were just out there, and apart from people obviously being safety?
Yeah, no, people with me all the time, and they were sort of helping me. So they were carrying all my kit for me.
Oh, okay.
All my food, all my drink. When I got after 2 or 3 days, I got a bit sort of exhausted, knackered, couldn't really think very straight. So
wow.
They were sort of showing me the way as well.
Wow.
So although I know the fells really well,
Yeah.
it was, they were making sure I was going the right way and stuff. So it was basically a team effort. It wasn't just me. It was like a team getting me around.
It takes so much, doesn't it, to achieve something like you've achieved, and all of those sort of different people and helping you out. It's amazing what the human body is capable of. What was sort of going up to the challenge? Where was your mind at? What was the mindset? How did you prepare for something like this?
I think the preparation is knowledge. I've done something similar in the past. So I've done all these long stuff before.
Yeah.
I know that if I start suffering, you just have to carry on through it. You can get get some more food and drink down, and I'll start feeling okay again. And knowing that, you know, just anything that hurts is normally temporary and you can get better again. Although in this case, it didn't work like that because I got massive blisters and they just got worse and worse.
Wow.
But
so,
yeah, it's
so predominantly it's the ability to endure is that's one of the key elements, isn't it? Like your physical fitness and your mindset is one thing, but the ability to endure, you'd said about blisters, is that just down to the sheer length of time that you're on your feet? Or I know you had obviously good foot admin and you had good fell running shoes and stuff. Is it just literally the case of the nature of the monster?
Yeah, exactly. It was the first 2 days were really hot and my feet got all sweaty and soft. And then, as you say, 20 hours on a day, you don't get a chance to recover. So as soon as you get one blister, it's never going to get better. It's just going to get worse and worse. And it was just like managing it. We were changing shoes and socks all the time so they were dry, putting loads of stuff on to try and stop any infection.
Wow.
But yeah, it was just managing it. And as you say, there's 2 points to doing something like that. There's the physical side, being strong enough to run for that length of time. But there's the mental strength. And I guess you need to have both. You need to have that physical ability to move fast, but also the toughness.
Yeah. What do you think? Obviously, my background is the forces, and I've had some sort of robust times in my time that sort of helped me become the man I am. What would you put? People ask me sometimes, how do you become mentally tougher? And the sort of answer is, you just have to get. For me, you have to push that extra mile, don't you? You know, when you think I'm going to run 10 miles, but really you think, well, I'll say I'll run 10, but really I'm going to run 12. And that sort of builds a bit of mental sort of resilience. What have you sort of done to become this sort of ultra mentally tough human being? What is forged it?
It's a tricky question, that. I think I was always born to be a bit sort of awkward, tricky. I was a tricky child to look after because I was just determined to do my own thing. And I think I set myself a challenge then and said, right, I'm going to do it.
Right.
And whatever gets in my way, I'm going to do it. So, you know, that's how I sort of focus. I think, right, I'm going to do it. Nothing's going to stop me.
Wow.
No,
it's
I don't know. It's an interesting one.
It's accountability, isn't it? It's setting out and saying, I'm going to achieve this, and I know I'm going to end up in a dark place. However, I've been there before, and I quite liked it, and I'm going to stay there for just a little bit longer this time. And so let's talk about, so day one, you're there on the start line. What sort of, like, what are you feeling? And is there a strategy, or is it just, I'm going to run and I'm going to see how I feel, or is there any sort of game plan?
It's literally run and see how I feel, run on feel rather than, you know, times in particular. Yeah. So just sort of, and make sure that getting, you know, fed and getting drink down me, and just trying to keep calm and relaxed. I mean, I was like, the first day I was like, you know, beforehand I was scared, worried that what's going to happen. But just sort of keep relaxed, calm, and keep moving. Once you started, it's almost easier because all you've got to do is keep moving.
Yeah,
all the stress and hassle's gone. It's just a matter of moving one step forward at a time.
So the worst part must be the night before, is it? So you sort of have I don't know, maybe do you have like a pre-race sort of ritual where you have a certain meal, or you do a certain thing, or you've got like a certain routine? You sort of strike me as a guy that has a routine, that does things in sort of order.
Yeah, I'm a bit more haphazard than that. Right, I try to be ordered, but I'm a bit more random. But it's quite easy. Before the Wainwrights, it wasn't too bad because I was at home. It's always better to sleep in your own bed because you can relax.
Yeah.
And really just trying to stay calm, you know, just eat, drink. Yeah, just say, right, I'll do my best, whatever happens. It doesn't matter. I'll do my best. And we'll see how it goes.
What sort of meal and nutrition advice would you give people who are who want to go into this realm of long distance trail, fell, running. It just seems to be keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, doesn't it? Like it's certainly on the rise. And is there anything, say, before you did your event, what was the meal of choice? What is the Wainwright meal of choice before you set off?
It's basically before I set off, I just try to eat normal food.
Right.
And actually on it, I find that, say, a 2 or 3 hour fell race, I can eat lots of gels and stuff and sweet stuff.
Yeah.
But if it's longer than that, longer than 4 or 5 hours, then I need to eat savory food. Just eating sweet stuff just doesn't work with me.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that's the same with a lot of people. So
yeah.
Actually on the Wainwrights, I met the camper van every 4 or 5 hours. I had this camper van that came to the road crossings.
Cool.
And they had the normal food for me. So whatever it was, I had soup and bread, or one day I had pizza, another day I had onion bhajies.
Yeah.
Just normal.
Yeah.
Just normal food. For breakfast, I'd have like 2 hours sleep at night, or 2 or 3 hours sleep, and then in the morning I'd have breakfast, and I'd pretend it was the start of a normal day. So I'd have like porridge and banana for breakfast, because that's what I always have.
What's 2 hours of sleep like for that period of time? That must be, I mean, that's another level, isn't it? And what do they say? 6 hours a night? Do they recommend 6 hours? The human body sort of, is good on 6 hours, but 2, wow, that's a dark place, especially with expending all that calorie burn and all the sort of energy that goes into what you're doing as well. You must have been in a dark place there.
That was like the first night I didn't get any sleep because everything hurt too much.
Oh, wow.
And then the second night, almost nothing. And then the third night, I then slept really well because I was just so tired. I was actually getting a little bit more, probably 3 or 4 by those points. But I was okay while I was moving.
Yeah.
But then in the afternoon, every afternoon, I'd have this really bad dip.
Really?
And I just couldn't stay awake. I just sort of had to have like 10-minute power nap. I just lay on top of a fell and just say, right, I've got to go to sleep for 10 minutes here. I can't stay awake.
And
were talking to me, pouring water over me, nothing would work.
Wow.
I just said, right, you've got to sleep. And 10 minutes you feel a lot better on.
Yeah. And were you tracking, did you have any sort of, like, now everyone sort of has a sports watch, don't they, or a fitness tracker that sort of tracks calories or VO2 max or sort of heart rate and blood pressure? Did you have anything like that? I'd be dead interested in if there's like a sort of scientific sort of like how much overall calories or energy you burnt in that period of time. It must have been unreal, a strain on your body. That must have been just next level.
Yeah, we didn't actually have anything like that, which probably should have done. We had a tracker so that anyone in the world could see where I was at any point, which was great. But nothing counting calories or anything, or steps or anything like that.
Wow, I mean, I suppose you could always
say it'd be a lot of calories. Yeah,
I suppose you could always do it again and get yourself a Garmin or something. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's talk about that, because the last time I saw you when we did Hallsfell Ridge, you were saying that you're helping train a guy now who's going to try and attempt to break your record. And I bet you he's wearing a flash, something like a new Sunto or a new Garmin sort of tracker. So be interesting to see where he goes with that, actually. The data, I bet it's going to be sort of pretty intense. So how is that going? Is that still on track? And are you still helping the guy try and beat your record?
Yeah, I haven't heard much from him, but he's having a go on June the 14th, and I'll be helping him on the first section.
Oh, wow.
So, I'll be there doing the first 4 hours with him, and hopefully he'll have a good shot and see how he gets on.
Yeah, well, fair play for him for trying it. What's the sorry, I can't remember the gentleman's name. What's the guy's name?
So Paul Turney is doing it.
Good luck, Paul.
Yeah. He's good enough, but there's so many things that can go wrong on that length of times. The weather could be turned bad for a day, or he could get a bad injury. So you just never know.
Is June? Why June? Obviously, what he's doing it in June. You did it in June. Why is June? What's so special about June? Is it just like is that when we're saying that the weather in the Lake District is at its most sort of stable? Is June? Is that the time to go?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, part of my job, I do look at weather, and April and May are actually a bit drier than June, but then that's a bit less rain, but it dries out a bit on the foot in June.
Yeah.
And then obviously you're getting more daylight because you want to have as much daylight as possible.
Yeah.
That makes it a bit quicker.
Longest. Yeah. No.
Yeah. So I was mostly sleeping at night, but there was one night I was out for 4 hours in the dark, and it's just that bit slower. You know, you're losing 5 or 10 minutes here and there just because you're relying on sort of head torches rather than sort of the sun, as it were.
Yeah, no, that's still interesting, and I'll see if I can find a link for that, because I'd be interested to see. He'll probably, and it's a testament to where we've come in technology, in the time period from you've done it to when he's doing it, because obviously now he's probably wearing, like I said, a Sunto or a Garmin sort of thing, and it'll be all tracked, and you'll be able to watch him. And it'd be dead interesting to see that. But yeah, I just noticed it there. Oh, June. I wonder if there's a proper reason for that. And he's going to try and beat you. Right? It's interesting. He's going to try and beat the record. Where do you think's the hardest point? Is there a particular fell where there's like a cluster of sort of the mountains where you think, where you were dreading going to that point? Is there any way you think, oh no, I'm not a fan of this fell, or this bit's particularly tricky, or there's got to be, hasn't there?
Well, actually, I love being on the fells, and they're all great. The bit I was dreading was there was a 6-7 mile section of road.
Oh, really? Wow.
On the end of the 6th day to a place called Binsey, which is the northernmost.
Yeah, Binsey, yeah.
And so I was dreading running along that road for 7 miles.
And especially at the end of your challenge, when obviously fatigue is at its highest, that must have been a mentally tough, because running on road is quite brutal on the body as well, isn't it? Even a short
is, yeah.
Like
and it was tough. I mean, I was struggling. Well, I did manage to run most of it, but as soon as there was a climb, I was back into a fast speed walk rather than running, because it's just hard after that length of time.
I mean, I suppose we can look at that because man has been running sort of across the fells and across the wild since we evolved, but road is relatively new, isn't it? So the body realistically probably hasn't adapted too well on running on such a hard surface, and I think that's why a lot of people pick up a lot of injuries where when we used to chase our food, we were probably quite averse as being endurance athletes. So our bodies are probably geared up better to run across fells. So you've probably reversed back a few evolutionary steps to being such a good fell runner. And you see now, don't you, sort of big clumsy shoes and sort of extra padding. I think somewhere along the way there in the science and the evolution, our bodies are probably still maybe sort of catching up to that. That's an interesting thing.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, I feel at home on the fells and definitely go for lightweight shoes and I'd be lucky not to be injured. I don't know or be injured for a long time, so I don't know if that's because I don't run on the roads or maybe I'm just lucky. Who knows?
I mean, geographically, obviously, where you're from and where you live, you are extremely lucky to sort of open the front door and then you're away, aren't you? You're sort of you're in the fells, and that's brilliant for you. I mean, some people obviously. I watched the London Marathon and I was trying to work out. Do you watch the marathon? Are you into sort of the marathon series or?
I watch bits of it. It's interesting to see. I mean, these top guys are so fast; they're amazing. The speed they keep going.
Yeah,
that sort of length of time.
It just makes you think, doesn't it? But I wonder what the transition would be like. Do you know what I mean? Who could transition easier, you to them or them to you? What's your sort of take on that?
I'm sure they could transition to being ultra runners much quicker than I could. I could never run at that speed. I've not got the build for it.
Right, yeah, I suppose.
I don't know how much they weigh. They are,
They're not. It's and the women as well, and there's a big surge at the moment, isn't there, in sort of women making great leaps and bounds into sort of trail and fell running stuff. It's coming on leaps and bounds, and the lady that won the Montaigne Spine, whose name has Jasmine Paris, who got away from us for a minute there. What's your take on that? Do you think it's a different animal from what you're doing, or similar discipline mindset?
The spine race is similar, except it's by yourself, and it's a winter, so you're looking at 16 hours in the dark. So you need to be even mentally tougher, and cope with that bad weather. And Jasmine's great. I know Jasmine quite well.
Oh,
she's really nice. Yeah, really nice. And amazingly tough. Yeah, and I don't know whether women might have any advantage over longer distances. They seem to, when I did adventure races in the past, they seem to cope better with lack of sleep than the men.
Oh, that's interesting.
I used to do these 4-day adventure races, teams of 4. The first day, the women were often at the back. By the 4th day, they were normally much more coherent, can navigate and leading. So they seem to maybe cope a bit better with the lack of sleep. Don't know.
Yeah, I suppose naturally women sort of are smaller builds, aren't they? So obviously if you're really sort of cardiovascularly strong, you're carrying a lighter frame and your body's more efficient, where if a man's got a bit more muscle mass, being muscly won't help you carrying that over 30, 40 miles, will it? It'll be a hindrance because that muscle needs oxygen, and that's definitely something that's at them sort of distances, the fatigue is a big issue. But yeah, she's, it's, for me, I think, sort of going on to sort of the social media side of it, I had to really, really sort of research Jasmine Paris to find out sort of any sort of concrete sort of information on her, and I definitely feel like women like herself and Fiona Oakes should definitely come more to the forefront, because I think they'd be great role models for people, especially young girls coming up in a world that's obsessed with image, about, no, these are the real sort of role models. Do you know what I mean? What these women do, or what they have done, or what they can do, it is almost a superpower. We're obsessed with Marvel and DC. Well, being able to run these sorts of distances like yourself is a genuine superpower in my eyes. What's your take on sort of social media, Steve, and sort of all that sort of stuff? How do you feel it works well with running and branding and all that? Have you got any sort of take on that?
Yeah, I mean, social media is great, and it's great to keep in contact with people that you might not be nearby, but you can sort of see what's going on and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I spend probably too long looking at seeing what's going on. I much prefer, actually, or be better to be going out running rather than looking at my whole time doing that. But it's the nature of the beast. You have to do. For me, I have to do some social media stuff because it's hopefully people inspired by what I do, and if I put some stuff out, then they might appreciate that. And I think it's the same with someone like Jasmine.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously I've been promoting that you've been coming on the show all week, and people have been messaging me saying, oh wow, unbelievable, I've read his book, and what he did was unreal, and and this, that and the other. And it's definitely something that I'm interested in. And I wonder, when the new generation of fell runners and trail runners come up, and they're more sort of comfortable with social media because they're going to grow up with it from an early age, I wonder where it will go within the sport. Like sort of taking Instagram photos at certain checkpoints and sort of all that sort of stuff. I know some good fell runners on Instagram, and they're really sort of grasping it with both hands, promoting their brands, whether it be Solomon or whatever they're wearing. It's sort of interesting where it's going to go, but I'd like to sort of probably look at that a little bit more. Are you involved this year, or any sort of festivals coming up in the area, in the Lakeland area, or are you going on any sort of little tour?
I'm helping at the Keswick Mountain Festival, so I'm doing a talk on the Saturday evening there, and one of my main things I do a lot is orienteering, and we've got a little sort of orienteering maze that I'm putting on for a couple of days there. So
Oh,
I'm
brilliant.
volunteering. I'm a volunteer there. I just go back and help people and try and encourage kids into the sport.
Oh, that's brilliant. The Keswick Mountain Festival, plug that. When is that kicking off, Stephen?
So that's not this weekend, but the weekend after.
Brilliant. And you're doing an orienteering stand?
Just a little maze. So it's like
brilliant. That's awesome.
It's like a 20 by 20 meter sort of maze with a few controls in, and it only takes a minute to get around, but you have to quickly navigate around this maze as quickly as possible to try and find the controls. And it's a fun little thing to do, and the kids seem to love it.
No, that's brilliant. Orienteering is great. I'd like to see more of it. In fact, I'd like to see more people map and compass. I'm a fan of technology, but I feel like, and I wonder, I'd like your take on this. Too many people put trust into gadgets. Where are you? Are you sort of more like me, a bit sort of map and compass man, and then obviously maybe a phone with View Ranger or OS on it or something like that in your back pocket, or have you really gone for the whole GPS game?
No, that's exactly me. Map and compass with the phone and as you say, the map in the back pocket. And when I help people in the middle of the night doing some of these things like Bob Graham rounds, I do have the GPS out with me. Just to help them. But, out of preference is always map and compass. Yeah,
it's sort of, it's interesting because Wainwright, he just had a little adventure, didn't he? He didn't have GPS or any sort of gadgets. So I wonder, it's a shame. I wonder how he got on. I bet he got lost a few times. He must have sort of got himself into a few predicaments, but that's all part. I think the problem now, Stephen, is a lot of people, they're afraid of a bit of a criticism, or they're afraid to say, oh, well, I went there, but I got a bit lost. And no one wants to be like, oh, well, you got lost. Like, I openly admit, like, getting navigationally embarrassed is part of the game. Do you know what I mean? That's what you call it. That's what we used to call it in the army. It's just, it's part of the adventure, isn't it? Like, have the ability to say, okay, I think I've gone wrong here. Map out. Right, let's work it out. Okay, we're here. Brilliant. Let's go again. But it seems to be that we need to be perfect all the time as human beings, and that's just not how it is. I'd like to sort of see more navigation taught in schools. I don't know why it's not taught. I think it's almost like it's a fundamental skill to be able to read a map. I don't know what's your take on it. I'm sure you'd be happy to take some people out navigating.
Yeah, I think it's a key skill, definitely. And a lot of people, who I know that you'd think would be quite happy running in the fells when the clag's in, get really scared. And you think, why? These are people that can navigate. They just don't have the confidence, maybe. As you say, maybe they're worried about getting slightly lost. Yeah. But they need to know ways off the feld if it gets bad, or you need to have that confidence to know how to cope with the bad weather. Yeah. And they don't seem to have that sometimes. So it's interesting.
How does when you did the Bob Graham, how did you find the Bob Graham as a competition, and what do you think of recently of what's gone on with the Bob Graham with Killian Genet just absolutely, just laying down an absolute marker for which will probably be there for a while?
Yeah, I mean, I did it, what was that, 14 years ago? Yeah. And at the time it was like fifth fastest time, just about 17 hours. Yeah. But then I could see more and more people doing it. It's getting a bit faster. So there's a few sort of places where you used to have to navigate. There's now sort of trods up through it. So it's got a bit faster. Yeah. And then, as you say, Killian came along last summer. I was helping him on the fourth leg. He thought he'd slow down by then, but he still managed to run away from me. He was amazing. Wow. He's just such a great athlete and a nice guy as well. And it's a record that will last a while, that's for sure. You never know. People can beat these things. Someone else even better might come along, but I don't know anyone at the moment.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And do you think it's his background, his upbringing, his genetics? What do you think's made him just got that ability to just absolutely go to, a few levels higher than anyone else at the moment?
I think he's got everything. He's got the background, he's got the genetics, he trains really hard,
Yeah.
and he also pushes it to the limit as well.
Yeah.
I mean, when he finished the Bob Graham, he was, you know, at the limit
Yeah.
the last couple of hours, and he pushed it that hard. Even though he was going to beat it by an hour, he still pushed it. So he's got everything, you know, as well as genetics. He's got the mental attitude to push it, and to so he's got everything going in his favour in that respect.
Out of everything all the other sort of races that you've done, barring obviously your Wainwright record, where does the Bob Graham sort of rank in events that are tough, really tough?
It's tough, but it's, you know, it's probably less tough than some of the other things.
Right.
It's tough because it's up there in the top 4 or 5. That's probably it. But, you know, things like the Dragon's Back race is probably a bit harder. The Wainwrights is obviously harder.
Yeah.
Some of these adventure races I've done are probably harder. But you know, it's a tough day out. It's, you know, anyone that can achieve that is an amazing athlete.
Yeah, it is a fascinating event, that definitely.
Yeah.
I was reading good old sort of Wikipedia. I was doing a bit of research, and after your record breaking run, chronic fatigue syndrome. For those who don't know, do you want to explain to people what it is? I'm sort of fascinated by this. I know someone else who's suffering with it, and it's such a bizarre sort of illness.
It is bizarre, and it's probably slightly different for everyone.
Yeah.
But for me, it was just a complete and utter exhaustion.
Yeah.
It's like waking up with a hangover, the worst hangover ever, but it just doesn't go. It's there for weeks, months. So I just really would wake up and I couldn't work. I couldn't think straight. I just sort of dope around until I got to like middle of the afternoon, and then I'd be able to do a bit of work.
Yeah.
And then I'd feel dizzy, feel like about to faint the whole time. And then I couldn't sleep. I was exhausted, but I couldn't sleep.
Wow.
And I was also getting these strange heartbeats as well, which may be related.
Really?
Maybe not related. So.
And do you think do you think you put your body under that much stress when you did your Wainwright record, that it came on after that?
Yeah, I mean, I say that beforehand I felt fine.
Yeah.
Afterwards, I always felt I felt weird, but it wasn't immediate. I felt strange and I felt really tired. But then it took about a year before it to get actually really bad.
Wow.
Yeah. So the problem was I carried on training hard.
Yeah.
So instead of just letting my body recover properly, I pushed it again and again. And
yeah,
a year later I was struggling really badly and couldn't barely run at all, run for 10 minutes.
Wow, that's unbelievable, isn't it? Some people sort of like who don't understand chronic fatigue, like say, oh, you can, you know, it's a fitness thing, but it's clearly not a fitness thing. It's almost like your body just saying, we've gone to the dead battery point and we just haven't got anything left. And what have you done to sort of combat it? Have you changed your diet? Have you changed the way you've trained? Are you sleeping more? What do you think sort of brought you back round into a better place? Yeah,
so I started listening to my body was the first thing. So when I was feeling tired, instead of saying, I'll push it again, push it harder and harder, I said, no, just listen to it. Listen to your body. Just take it easy. And then I started living the perfect lifestyle. So I stopped drinking any alcohol.
Okay.
Got 9 hours sleep every night.
Wow. That's
removed all sort of as much stress as I could from my life. Perfect healthy diet. And it came back gradually came back over a couple of years. But it was 2 years to really sort of get properly well again.
Wow. And did you try any sort of like either medication sort of prescribed or any sort of, you know, you've read some sort of wives' tales, or was it literally just a case of rest and recovery and lifestyle change?
I did read lots of stuff and I tried various things. I wasn't sure what worked and what didn't work because I tried lots of supplements and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure which helped, but so it might be that. I mean, I've been sort of keen on having more magnesium in my diet and
Yeah.
magnesium supplements, but whether that's actually the problem or not, I had no idea. But,
Yeah.
you know, it's something I've been trying to do.
And it's always nice to it's always nice to sleep. 9 hours is that your go-to? Is it 9 hours a night? That's really good. Yeah, that's really good.
I mean, I can cope with 8.
Yeah.
If I get any less than that,
Oh wow.
then I'm struggling.
Yeah, Steve, I'm currently on 6 hours a night. that's where I am. You know, I think the joys of a sort of semi-part-time job and then a full-time business, and the stresses that come with it. I think I'm like 6 hours. I'm good. But I'll tell you one thing that I do. I remove all phones and lights and gadgets away from my bedroom. So when I go to sleep, there's no buzzing of phones. We are too caught up with checking these phones all the time. And I think there's a lot of people, and this would be good actually. I'll get your take on it. Scotland at the moment is prescribing the outdoors for people who are sort of struggling with depression, who are diabetics, people trying to lose weight. It's absolutely, in my eyes, that's absolutely the right way to go, because I just feel alive when I'm in the outdoors, regardless really of weather. If I'm honest, I love being in the outdoors. What's your take? Do you think that's the way we should go as a nation?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, if I don't get out, if I sit at home or work or stuck in a city, I get really stressed, really hassled. I go out, whether it's a walk, a run, a bike ride, doesn't really matter. I go out and I feel so much more relaxed. I'm a much better person.
Yeah.
But my wife makes sure I just do go out, because she knows that if I don't, then I've become stressed and horrible. So out I go, and then I'm much better afterwards.
And away from sort of running, how else do you decompress? Do you enjoy the movies, or do you go to sort of any sort of theatre, comedy? Is there anything else that you like to do away from running that it's a passion?
Probably not.
No,
but they're really just getting out. So so if we're not out running, and then with the family, I go out for lots of walks and stuff with them. You know, they're not as keen on running, but they all enjoy going out walking in the fells. So yeah.
And
so
favorite Wainwright?
It has to be Venkata.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
So they've got a great stone on top now.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah. I don't know if
it's my local one.
Yeah, look, it's brilliant. They say, don't they? It's a mountaineer's mountain, and it's great for anyone of all abilities and all ages, and it's fantastic. And I don't know how much you're aware of it, but that new stone is almost now becoming its own thing, because I get tagged in so many great photos with families, people with dogs, people doing funny poses, sort of brilliant sort of landscape photos. And I just think this is why we sat down and did it, because it's given so much more now to a lot of people. In my eyes, it's better than not having anything there. People are really sort of, I'm seeing things in threads like, this is amazing. I'm going to go next weekend. I've never been up a mountain before. I'm going to go and see it. And, that's predominantly, that's why we set out to do what we did. And again, thanks very much for coming on the day. It was brilliant to have your support. And you had a few fans there as well, didn't you? I saw you signing a few books.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of people I knew. But no, it's great that you've gone ahead and done that. It's great to replace the old one. To have that stone up on top is brilliant.
Do you think, rest in peace to the old stone. We'll probably never truly know what happened to it, but, the rumours were that it went down the fells. And I know you said to me that you've sort of searched, haven't you, in between the gullies, but never found anything concrete. So, shame.
Yeah, I had a look. I'll have another look, a few more looks. Not many people go in those gullies and stuff, so it could easily be there.
Yeah, no, brilliant. We're absolutely flying through this, Stephen. So what we're going to do is I'm going to move on to the final part, the 5 whats. So the first what's the greatest advice you've been given?
I think just to enjoy where you are, enjoy being out. If you can get out on the fells, whether it's a walk or run, just enjoy it, because you never know when you're going to be ill or injured and never going to be out again. And it's crucial just to live for those days being out.
Yeah, definitely. Second, what's on your bucket list? So either running, family, personal, work, whatever it may be. What's still left to do?
Oh, I'm not sure I've really got a bucket list. I suppose I completed half the Munros in Scotland with my wife before the kids came along. So at some point we've got to go and finish the other half. But probably when in 3 or 4 more years' time, when they're a bit older, we can go and start doing some of them again.
Would you ever consider something like the Barclay Marathon?
If I can get really fit again, then I would. Yeah.
Wow.
Obviously, it's hard to get an entry for it, but
I'm sure you would get a pass. You've got the pedigree.
But yeah, that sort of thing looks because it's really rough, which suits me because I do like it rough.
Yeah.
And then with navigation involved as well,
Yeah, it's definitely your cup of tea.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
The Netflix show is fantastic. Third, what's your toughest day? So that can either be running, personal, or just something that sticks in your mind, like a certain day that you think, I don't have to go for that one again.
I guess it's probably on the Wainwrights, the fifth day when I set off, and absolutely everything hurt. And I put on some shoes and they were agony. And I walked up Hallin Fell and every step was agony. And after about halfway up, I took off the shoes and threw them down. I was pissed off. Thought, right, this is never going to happen. I'm never going to do this. I walked up to the top in my socks.
Right. Wow.
I got down to where the camper was again and found some more shoes that were slightly less painful. And over the next couple of hours, it got gradually better. And I thought I can actually do it. But those first 2 hours were just so painful and so demoralizing because I thought I wasn't going to do it.
Wow. That's a fair point. The fourth, what's your happiest day?
I guess family and personal lives. Day I got married, when the 3 kids were born. They were all great days. Running wise, when I finished the Wainwrights, running up all with hundreds of people watching.
Oh well, what was that like when you knew you were on for the record in that sort of last 200-300 meters? Was that just were you cognitive enough to enjoy it, or were you just exhausted to the point where it didn't really sink in?
No, I was happy enough to enjoy it, and there were so many people there, and it was just an amazing atmosphere. And I sort of walked up the steps into the Moot Hall, and my wife and kids were there, and it was sort of so emotional.
Yeah, I bet that's different, isn't it? That's what dreams are made of. That. Yeah,
exactly.
The final what's next? What's next on the calendar? What's next on the tick list? Is there a tick list?
I'm not. There isn't actually, no, because ever since I had this fatigue, I've had like good days and bad days.
Yeah.
And when so I've never really sort of sorted anything out much in advance because I never knew how I'd feel.
Yeah.
But now I'm sort of better again. I'm beginning to sort of look further into the future. So there's like a mountain marathon in a couple of months' time. I think I'll be doing.
Yeah, where's that?
So that's a Saunders Lake District Mountain Marathon.
Oh, brilliant!
So it's 2 sort of two marathon days with navigation in between, carrying your kit for overnight. So you've got to carry a tent and all your food. So it's a great 2 days out on the fells.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah.
So that's probably the next thing I'll be doing.
Brilliant. Stephen, we've absolutely flew through it. I thank you very much for your time.
A pleasure.
Where people can find you next is at the Keswick Mountain Festival. Where else can people find you if you want them to find you? Please feel free to plug anything you've got coming up, or your book, or wherever.
Yeah, the book, of course.
Yeah.
There's no map in hell of my Wainwrights. Yes, I've got to plug that. But yeah.
Where can people get it? Where can people get the book?
It's on Amazon.
Amazon, yeah.
And all the local sort of bookshops in the Lake District generally have it.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, you'll see me at all the fell races and stuff. I don't hide or whatever.
No, you can't hide. No, brilliant. Look, Stephen, look, thanks very much for giving up your time. I really, really appreciate it. Tonight's been a pleasure. I'll stop it there, and thanks very much for coming on.
Oh, thanks for inviting me. It's been good.
No problem.
Cheers.